Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Elise, and this is 10 to Life, your one-stop true crime destination. I almost wanted to say like your one-stop shop, maybe one-stop shop, all things true crime. I don't know, guys. I need to just keep it new, because I'm so over saying the same thing every time. So if you are brand new though and stopping by for the first time, welcome. I hope you enjoy this channel and today's case video, and if you are totally into true crime like me and all of my other 10 to Lifers who are subscribed and also tuning in right now, then you should be a part of our little 10 to Life community, and you should hit subscribe, that little button right there below, so that you never miss another video. Thanks again for joining today, guys, all of you guys, wherever you're coming from. So today I actually have a case update for you, and it is in the recent Honeymoon Murder that took place in Fiji on a massive luxury vacation. And I'm talking like massive amount of coin. Not that that really means anything, but maybe it does, and we're going to get to why. So there have been a lot of updates in this case, particularly updates about the crime itself and the aftermath as far as the husband, aka the alleged killer's actions, and it ain't looking good. So we're going to jump right in.
10 to Life with Elise starts right now.
So last week I posted a video about a case that is happening right now about a honeymoon murder that took place in Fiji. There have been a lot of new details, like I said, and a lot of new updates in regards to this case, so I have quite a bit of information to share with you today. Now, because my earlier video was only about 15 minutes and is less than 10 minutes when you have it on double speed, I'm going to include it here so that all of the information is just, in one place together for all of the people who have no idea what case this even is, just so that it's all housed nicely in one little area. But if you already watched that video, go ahead and fast forward to where you see my outfit change back to this green, and that means you're back to this recording where we are going to discuss all of the updates. So let's recap here really quick with that earlier video. Christe Chen is a 39-year-old woman living in Memphis, Tennessee. Christe grew up as an only child, and she used to travel a lot with her mom on these extravagant trips, and she would post them to her social media, and it was just very close with her mother. She's also described as super sweet and kind and would do anything for anybody. Also, very outgoing, generous, and just so fun to be around. And Christe also was once a very talented baker who had actually had a very successful bakery in Colorado. But she moved to Memphis and decided that she was going to study because she wanted to become a pharmacist. So in 2015, Christe met a man named Brad Dawson when they were planning a mutual friend's bachelorette party. Brad worked as an IT specialist for Youth Villages, which is a private, nonprofit organization dedicated to helping children with emotional and behavioral problems and help with their family live successfully through that. So the two of them quickly bonded over their love of long-distance running and their charitable work as well. They also both shared a passion for the Chicago Cubs because they were both from the Windy City. And in February of this year, that budding romance was in full bloom, and the two of them got married. They decided not to go on a honeymoon right away and thought it best to postpone until summer. So on July 7th of this year, the newlyweds headed out for a belated honeymoon and checked into Turtle Island Resort in Fiji. Now, this resort itself is absolutely stunning, and it's actually where the hit movie from the 1980s that Brooke Shields was in, what was it called, Blue Lagoon, that's where it was filmed. So the luxury beachside location is also so exclusive that it only has 14 villas across the full 500 acres, and it's so secluded that only resort staff actually lives on this remote island. Each guest also has their own personal butler, which is known as the Beer Mama, I think is what it's called, where they basically arrange the picnics and the dinners and the island tours, whether horseback riding, snorkeling, diving, all of the activities for the couple, all the way down to, personal massages, whatever it is you want. And the room rate for this kind of stay and for Christe and Brad's stay was $3,500 a night. I am talking massive luxury. That is some heavy coin to pay. But what started as a luxury tropical vacation to celebrate their love for each other turned into a horrific crime scene just 2 days after arriving on the secluded island. On July 9th, 2 days after arriving, the newlywed couple didn't show up to eat breakfast. So this raised an alarm for their personal butler, who was responsible again for all of their arrangements. The butler then went to the couple's bungalow and found a do not disturb sign on the door, hanging from the doorknob. So not thinking much of it and thinking perhaps they just chose to sleep in or maybe we're having some, private newlywed fun, he turned around and he left. However, a few hours later, they failed to turn up to lunch as well. Now, in addition to making their arrangements for the day and planning their activities, the butler also personally cleans these bungalows daily. So the 50-year-old butler used a spare key he had to unlock the door and started cleaning the common areas of their bungalow. However, as he was cleaning, he saw blood stains on the bathroom wall. And when he went to investigate, he stumbled upon a truly gruesome scene. Christe was covered in blood and laying on the bathroom floor in their private beach hut room. She appeared to have been beaten to death and suffered multiple traumatic injuries to her body and blunt force trauma to the head. The butler immediately alerted hotel management, who called the Fiji police force in the nearby city, which is just a little under an hour from the international airport. At the same time officers were recovering Christe's body, they also sent a team out to search for her husband, Brad, who was nowhere to be found. The search continued all afternoon and into the night, but nobody could find Brad. This was not looking good and was starting to wave all sorts of red flags. If I had my red flag handy, I would be waving it right now. So the next day, on Sunday, July 10th, around 3 p.m., a local man in a town approximately a little over a mile across the water from that luxury island and luxury resort spotted Brad. And the local said that Brad told him that he had used a kayak to paddle to the island between 2 and 3 a.m. on Saturday morning, after he had a fight with his wife, Christe. He landed on a secluded beach of this new town and then was just wandering around after that. The local said that Brad was bruised and bleeding from his palms and his feet, but said that the injuries could have been caused from falling onto nearby coral after he kayaked over. He said that Brad appeared so disturbed, so he decided to offer him some water and some help. And he said at first that Brad kept refusing food, kept refusing water, and insisted that he was okay. But then when the local insisted that he had some water, he finally complied. And then he said, "Please help me, I need to call the police." He said that Brad kept insisting on calling the police and told other locals who had started now gathering around that he was extremely drunk. The local stated that Brad never told them that he killed his wife, but that they could still smell alcohol on him. That's how intoxicated he was. Brad also continued to repeat this: "We had a fight, we had a fight, we had a fight," and offered no start or end to that story. Just kept saying and kept repeating, "We had a fight."
Michael, good morning. A luxury resort in Fiji. It's the kind of place that couples dream of vacationing, but for this newlywed couple, it has become the scene of a crime. A woman now dead.
More questions than answers this morning in a luxury vacation turned nightmare for two American newlyweds. 36-year-old Christe Chen found dead in her Fiji hotel room and rattling the South Pacific Island community where the couple was vacationing. Public records show the Memphis area couple tied the knot in February. The Turtle Island resort confirming the two were guests at the all-inclusive luxury resort. Authorities still trying to piece together how the couple's trip to paradise allegedly turned to horror. Fiji police tell ABC News a resort housekeeper discovered Chen's body lying on the floor of her hotel room earlier this month. The housekeeper alerted hotel management, a medical team later pronouncing Chen dead. Resort telling ABC News, "Our highest priority is the safety and concern for our guests and team, both who we value as family, and we are extremely saddened by the event."
A team of 3 police officers soon arrived to take Brad back to Turtle Island, where it appeared he had originally fled from on that kayak. They took him back, and he was charged with murder. And when asked to submit his DNA for forensic testing, he refused.
According to police, Dawson fled the scene and was found days later in the city of Nandi, miles away from the resort, where he was taken into custody.
A Memphis couple's honeymoon in Fiji ends with the wife dead and the husband charged with murder. 38-year-old Bradley Robert Dawson is in jail tonight without bond. Fox 13's Daniel Wilkerson is live outside the couple's home in Cooper Young. Daniel, the wife worked as a pharmacist here in Memphis, and I got a text this morning from several people talking about this. They were apparently known by many people here.
Known and loved, yes. Christe Chen, she graduated from UT. The couple lived in this house, this new house in Cooper Young right here behind me. Tonight, Chen is being remembered. What should have been the perfect honeymoon for a Memphis couple on a Fiji island has ended in this. Newly married 38-year-old Bradley Robert Dawson charged with the murder of his wife, 39-year-old Christe Chen. The Fiji Sun reports Dawson is accused of killing his wife in a resort on the Yasawa Islands. Fox 13 uncovered records showing the couple lived in Cooper Young on Elsie Avenue. Here in the Cooper Young area of Memphis, we spoke with several neighbors. They had heard of the incident, but none wanted to go on camera. One neighbor says she saw Chen right before the vacation. She described her as elated she would get to spend her honeymoon in Fiji. We did some digging and discovered Chen graduated from UT and worked as a pharmacist at a Kroger in Memphis. Bradley Dawson is employed by Youth Villages, a nonprofit that works to improve the lives of children. The organization says he's been suspended pending further information. Youth Villages now offering their condolences to Chen's family and said Dawson is on leave. Not much is known about how Chen died. Meanwhile, police in Fiji continue their investigation in hopes of finding an answer to the question, why?
So Brad is now being held in a cell on the mainland, awaiting a bail hearing this week. But his lawyer absolutely denies that his client is a murderer. He is saying there is no way that he can be convicted of murder. No way, full stop. That's a quote, which just has me curious. Did Christe beat herself to death? And did blood magically get transferred to your client's hands, fists, and feet? He continued to say, on the evidence that they have presented so far, there's no proof of the charge of murder with the intention to kill or premeditation. Nothing of that sort whatsoever. That, on the face of it, he says it looks like an accident, but that they will be able to confirm that once they get the full disclosure this week and get in front of other witnesses. His lawyer also said that Brad was too distraught to talk for days after he was charged with his wife's murder. And his exact words were, something surprising happened. Brad's okay now, but he was really distressed when it happened. And last week he was in a desperate condition, but apparently he's picking up now. It's a horrendous thing to have happen on your honeymoon, his lawyer says. Yeah, it is a horrendous thing, but even more horrendous if you're the one on the receiving end of that is, just my 2 cents on that.
When Americans travel to foreign countries and are alleged to have committed a crime, in this case murder, the local authorities will use their process. Mr. Dawson's going to be in Fiji for a long time before this case is resolved one way or the other.
And Dawson's lawyer in Fiji tells us that he intends to file an application for bail on Monday, but thinks it'll be hard to secure because Dawson doesn't have any local family connections who can provide assurances. Michael.
So Christe's family is obviously devastated, and friends say that she was so excited to start her life as a married couple and soon have children.
Christe was one of those people that the moment that you met her, it's that unique connection where you feel like you've really known this person throughout your entire life.
But Brad is maintaining his innocence while he's locked up in this Fiji jail. But my question for you is, what do you think happened? Now, we're waiting on a lot of details still, and I'm guessing that we're going to get them this week, but we know that he was intoxicated. So did he get drunk and maybe they fought and he lashed out? Maybe it wasn't a purposeful deadly attack. Or did she slip in the bathroom after maybe losing her balance? Did he strike her once and then she fell and hit her head? I mean, everyone is staying pretty tight-lipped right now, but I'd imagine that after the hearing, we're going to learn a lot more details. And the resort is also remaining quiet, which I'm sure was, forced by management, and they probably had to sign some sort of non-disclosure. But nobody's really speaking about anything they saw the night before the murder, if they saw the couple in an argument. We know he was admitting to these locals at this new town that he kayaked over to that he had gotten into an argument with her, that he had kayaked around 2 or 3 in the morning. He had blood all over him, so I think it's safe to assume he fled the scene and that's her blood on him. The fact that he is unwilling to submit to DNA testing or any forensic evidence also gives me pause. My guess and my prediction here, they got drunk or he got drunk, some sort of fight ensued, and maybe it'll depend on how many wounds she has, but maybe he didn't purposefully try to kill her, but if it were in the bathroom and they had some sort of tile or marble flooring, perhaps he hit her and she fell and hit her head, and that's how she passed away. But based on the scene that the butler described and how much blood there was, my guess is that there was probably more than one hit. But that's just my guess, and that's just my opinion. Don't hold me to it because we don't know the facts yet. I'm guessing we are going to learn those facts soon. Okay, so now that you are caught up on the summary of this case, it's time for us to talk details because there have been new updates and some truly graphic revelations about what really went on inside that private bungalow with Christe and her husband Brad. I'd also like to make a minor correction from my previous video. This was, in fact, as said, a whirlwind romance, but they actually only met in November of 2021, not 2015 like originally reported in the previous video. They then married just 3 months later in February of 2022. And in an interesting note, which may mean nothing, but may mean something, Christe was Brad's second wife. He married his first wife in Fiji, also, in September 2019, and they honeymooned at the exact same resort, apparently. It's unclear when he separated from his first wife, but let me just say this. I understand that coincidences happen, but what is the likelihood that someone is going to get married twice in 3 years and honeymoon both times at the exact same resort? And even so, that has to be like the worst idea I've ever heard of. If Brad's first marriage failed just after a couple of years, why on earth would you take your new wife and your new life to the exact same place that you honeymooned with your first wife? Was it because he knew the island well? Was it because he loved this island so much there was absolutely nowhere else in the entire world that he wanted to travel to with his new wife? Because we know that this honeymoon and this destination was expensive, like expensive, easily upwards of 15 to 20 grand when you're all in. So it wasn't like it was the only affordable option and that's why he went back. It wasn't like that at all. They had money and they could have probably gone to a ton of different places. So why not go anywhere else? Something just does not sit right with me. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that this entire thing was like premeditated and that he planned it and he chose this location because he knew the island so well. But you know what? It does make me question it a bit. And I don't know, maybe I'm just a pessimist, but it seems off to me. And if I were going on my honeymoon, I would probably tell my husband that hell would freeze over before I go to the same romantic island with a bungalow over the water that he went to with his ex-wife just 2 years earlier. No chance in hell, and not confirmed, but reports say that she is the one who had the money. It wasn't Bradley, so it isn't like he was the one footing the bill, even though I get it, what's mine is yours. It wasn't like the money, he's the hard-earned breadwinner, and so he got to choose the destination. Apparently that wasn't the situation either, so I don't know. A lot of things just aren't sitting right with me. But anyways, onto the case and onto the updates. According to sources, the night of Christe's murder, the couple had attended the resort's family fun night, and this is with staff and other guests, but apparently at this event, the couple started getting very drunk. Sources on the scene stated that while the couple was initially having fun, things started to get heated when Brad started acting inappropriately with someone else who was present at this party. The witness continued to explain that they were enjoying themselves, drinking quite a bit, but that towards the end of the night, they looked very troubled. And reportedly, Christe was intoxicated at the time and got angry with Brad because he was dancing inappropriately with someone else at this party, most likely a guest. So after leaving the party, this argument that they were having continued onto the beach, and then they headed back to that private bungalow around midnight. Not long after that, guests in the bungalow next door said that they heard arguing, a loud scream, and then silence. Now, that would be concerning to hear in your neighboring hotel room or whatever, as it is. But think about that. These bungalows are spread out so far apart and you are isolated. The fact that they could hear screaming and arguing and then it going silent, to me, indicates that it was very, very loud for noise to be able to travel that distance. Then when Christe was found that following afternoon in that private bungalow, her body was squashed and slumped between that tiny space between the toilet and the wall. She was also apparently badly beaten and covered in blood. Now, the lid of the toilet's cistern, and I hope I'm saying that right, but you know what I mean, like the tank cover, was cracked and broken, indicating that her killer took that lid off the toilet tank and used that to inflict the deadly blows to Christe. And we're going to come back to this in a minute because new details that were learned about her injuries paint the picture of just how truly gruesome of a crime this really was. But first, let's talk about what Brad was doing as this discovery was made and as Christe's body was found. Now, on the night Christe was killed, Brad was seen walking the length of Turtle Island in the early hours of the morning by the night watchman on the island, before he then headed back towards that private bungalow that he shared with his wife. In the bungalow, he left behind his GPS watch, his cell phone, but he made sure to take his wallet and his passport. He then hopped on that kayak at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night and fled across the water, nearly 1.5 miles to that secluded beach. So the family attorney for Christe claims that Brad was in the hopes of reaching the mainland, which is a 2 or 3 boat ride away, so that he could then flee Fiji. But apparently he didn't make it that far, because the locals had spotted Brad, bloodied with cuts and bruises that Sunday afternoon at approximately 3 p.m. on July 10th. Now, this was 36 hours after police had started looking for him. So in my opinion, it was clear that he was trying to run. Why else leave behind all of your GPS devices but take your passport? Why else kayak in the middle of the night to a different beach island? Why else evade police for 36 hours after you became estranged from your newlywed wife? All sorts of red flags. Also, that kayak that he traveled on has never been found, which makes me question if the reason he did land on that secluded beach was even on purpose as a destination that he was heading towards. Or did something happen while inside of the kayak? Perhaps rough water or a leak or something to where he had to abandon the kayak and then had no choice but to swim to the closest shoreline. And is that where this whole plan of his slowly began to crumble? He thought he was smart, leaving behind all of his tech. He had his passport to flee. He jumps in this kayak in the middle of the night. But oops, a leak or it turned over or capsized, something to where, shit, I can't get to the 2 to 3 islands away to then, flee Fiji. I only can swim now, so I have to swim to the nearest shoreline, which is, at this point, maybe 1 mile or a little less away, which can be done. You can swim that. So is this where the plan began to fold? My light bulbs are going off a little bit here. So now let's go back to Christe and the condition in which she was found that afternoon. A lawyer for Christe's family, Ronald Gordon, said that her body was so badly beaten that she was unable to be embalmed. Her heartbroken parents had no choice but to cremate her before bringing her ashes back to the United States. He added that Christe suffered such deep lacerations to both sides of her head and near her eyes that the embalming fluid would have leaked out. This was an absolute barbaric and brutal crime. Many of whom are involved in this case are deeming it as a clear crime of passion, with one person even suggesting that there were over 20 blows to Christe's head. Now, if that's true, that would absolutely equate to a crime of passion, in my opinion. And we all know that when a crime of passion takes place, it is usually by someone who is very close with the victim, as the crime is up close, it's personal, and it is very hands-on. There is also often a degree of overkill in a crime of passion, as many wounds prove to occur post-mortem due to the suspect continuing their attack on the victim out of pure rage, not just attacking until their life is ended and they complete, their goal or their purpose or whatever they were trying to do, but inflicting wounds after the fact post-mortem because they are just in this blind rage, and we see that time and time again. So while Brad has been charged with murder, he and his attorney maintain his innocence, and they claim that Christe's death was an accident. Brad was pictured arriving to a bail hearing that was scheduled on Tuesday, July 26th, and he was carrying a small blue suitcase in anticipation of being released on bail. But instead, he was held for at least 3 more weeks, until August 21st. Now, prosecutors have not yet filed specific allegations as to what exactly happened on the night of Christe's murder, so the judge gave him 21 days to do so. Brad has not yet entered a plea, and he remains jailed and faces a possible life sentence. So we are going to know more at that next court date, which is on the 21st of this month.
Now, with an ABC News exclusive interview with the former girlfriend of the American man charged with killing his wife on their honeymoon in Fiji. She's describing her past relationship with him in college. Will Reeve joins us with that. Good morning, Will.
Hey, good morning, Michael. Kristen Baker dated Bradley Dawson for about a year, and they didn't speak much in the years after that. But after seeing Bradley accused of murdering his new wife last month, Baker felt compelled to speak out.
This morning, as American Bradley Dawson begins his 23rd day in a Fiji jail cell, charged with murdering his new wife on their honeymoon in paradise, ex-girlfriend Christe Baker is speaking out about her relationship with Dawson after she says they began dating in 2005 when they were both undergrads at the University of Tennessee.
I fell madly in love, and it was definitely intense and fast.
But she claims Dawson could sometimes be jealous and controlling, and that on one occasion he pushed her.
When I really did want to leave him, he did push me down once on the bed and chased me. He was very verbally manipulative and threatening and jealous.
Baker says she and Dawson broke up for good a year later, Dawson marrying another woman in 2019. Documents obtained by ABC News show that marriage ended in divorce, which was finalized this past January, 1 month before Dawson married Christe Chen, whom he's now accused of killing. Dawson and Chen met last November, marrying 3 months later. Chen's family attorney saying the trip to Fiji last month was a postponed honeymoon. According to police, a resort housekeeper discovered Chen's lifeless body on the floor of her luxury hotel room on July 9th. 38-year-old Dawson had allegedly already fled the all-inclusive resort by kayak. Dawson captured in the city of Nadi and charged with murder. His attorney denying Dawson is a murderer and says Dawson had no criminal record before his arrest.
I'm going to be following this very closely, and I really hope that a killer doesn't get away with murder in this case. And Christe's family attorney has stated that if Brad is not held liable criminally for Christe's death, they do plan to file a civil wrongful death suit. Christe is the only child of her parents, and they are absolutely devastated and want to ensure that justice is given to her. So please leave your supportive comments for her family below. Also, let me know what you think about Brad's actions. First and foremost, do you believe that this was an accident, as he is claiming? Which, I don't know how you accidentally kill somebody with the lid of a toilet tank, but okay. Do you believe that this was an accident, like he's claiming? Also, do you think that his GPS devices, both of them, were left behind on purpose to evade? Or was it done by accident because he was drunk and distraught over what had taken place inside that bungalow, whatever the deadly accident was that occurred? So he accidentally left his phone and his wallet, and his watch behind, but had the wherewithal to grab his passport and his wallet and kayak drunk across in the middle of the night, island hopping. What do you really think the truth is here? Let me know below, and I'll make sure to keep you guys updated as that next court date is just a couple of weeks away. And there we should learn more about the charges, the evidence, and what his plea is going to be. So check back and subscribe if you haven't done so already so that you get notified of those updates. Please also give this video a thumbs up, a like on your way out to show support for the channel. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in, and until the next case, stay safe. Bye.